This is the end of freedom, or the beginning of the end. I've become aware of this Christchurch call to action. It's the most chilling thing I've ever read about. The United States has joined in the Christchurch call to action to eliminate terrorist and violent extreme content online, formally joining those working together under the rubric of the call to prevent terrorists and violent extremists from exploiting the internet. Oh, yes. Yes, this is the beginning of the end of freedom as we know it, and perhaps freedom completely. I do not know if there is any study that shows that people who are getting radicalized due to primarily the internet. I doubt that there might be, there might not be, I don't know. But what's interesting is, if there was, I would expect to see the proof. I would expect to see some citation, something that says, we know that the internet can cause people to become extremists. Here's how that study worked. Here's what we found, and so on. This should be widespread knowledge. It should be in the zeitgeist. Maybe it is, and I'm just completely ignorant of it. But it's not here on the United States state.gov's website. Not there, so I don't know. I can't work with things that don't tell me anything. Okay, so eliminate terrorist and violent extremist content online. What is terrorist and violent extreme content? What is that? What does that mean? Who defines that? How is it defined? Is eliminating it going to eliminate terrorists? No. They'll simply meet in person or through phone calls, whatever. They'll still get together. The internet maybe made it easier for people to become, to get part of joining a group. Now, I don't know about getting radicalized. Maybe it's made it easier to get people to get radicalized. But maybe the fact that so many people are getting or seeing or feeling that they're getting censored in some way, shape, or form, maybe that's what's causing this. I have no idea. I don't know. What is and isn't a terrorist action? Is that well defined? Maybe. I think that it's bad when people kill other people, regardless of what we call them. Whether we'll call them a murderer or a terrorist, those people killed people, and it's terrible, and they shouldn't do that. We've got to figure out how to get it to be where that won't happen. Is the answer censorship? I say no. The same sort of thing, arguments against how to make a bomb being on the internet. That this should be illegal. You shouldn't be allowed to find how to make a bomb and read up about it and have blueprints and the links to all the parts to buy it. That should be illegal. It shouldn't be legal to have the ability to 3D print a gun. It should be illegal to have access to how to make chemical weapons. It should be illegal to have access to, and then fill in the blank. Now, it should go without saying that I don't like terrorists. I very much dislike people that want to hurt or kill or murder or whatever other humans, or that doesn't need to happen. We need to use logic and reason. If you have something against somebody, use logic and reason against them. Use words, not violence. Use your intellect, not your fists or weapons. Fight them on the field of the intellectual battle, and beat them there somehow. Well, are there legal ways to do that? Yeah, there's illegal ways probably to do that you shouldn't do. But if you can take them out while playing by the rules of the game that we all are trying to play here, we are playing a game. It's a meta game of life, but we're playing this game where we're trying to get along, we're trying to live together, we're trying to, have different cultures and different societies and different beliefs out there. And if people could just learn to use logic and reason, and yes, we get angry, but not to act on that anger in an uncivilized way. It's like, I want to punch somebody, but instead I'm going to say, look, I challenge you to a boxing match. Because then you civilize it, right? Now, of course, we used to have duels, and those were legal. Should we go back to that? I don't know. Probably not. Because we want to get out of the punch somebody mentality. Because if I beat you up in a boxing ring, that didn't make me right. I didn't win you over. You don't walk away thinking, wow, well, I got to reevaluate my worldview now. You just are hurt for a while, and you recover from it. So when somebody kills people because they don't like them, or for whatever the hell reason it is, they're not proving themselves right. They're not making any sort of headway. These people, sometimes they're insane or whatever the thing is, or they've been indoctrinated with nonsense or what have you, and that's got to stop. But the answer cannot be censorship, because it's just going to make it worse. It's going to drive it further underground. It's going to get more hidden. You won't know where they're meeting. You won't be able to find them. They will use code words. They will use obscure things, and it will be blended and absorbed by everything and everyone, and you won't know when it's serious and when it's not serious, and you'll take everything seriously, and then everything gets flagged. This video might get flagged. If it does, well, we'll see. I am against terrorists. I'm against killing and murder and all that stuff. You should, killing, obviously, well, that's, killing is legal murder. Killing is, if you can kill somebody, because they have the death penalty or whatever, that's still bad in my view. You don't teach anybody anything by ending their existence. I don't think that that's justice, in my view. But whatever the terrorists did or didn't do, it was one person, according to Wikipedia, one person that did this attack on Christchurch in New Zealand. Single gunman went into apparently 2 different places and shot at people, killed them, cold blood. Terrible, horrible, evil, vile, awful, despicable, disgusting. Shouldn't have happened. That person something went wrong in their brain. They got arrested, and they eventually got sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. First time that's happened in New Zealand. Okay. Now, what worries me is that he had a manifesto that was online, available. But that manifesto has been banned in New Zealand and in Australia. He had a video and a manifesto of him saying what his ideas were, what he was going to do, what his beliefs were. That's banned. Why? Out of fear that will cause more people to do the same. Elliot Rogers had out his manifesto. It's on. You can read it. It's still around. Should we ban that as well to prevent more school shootings? We don't want people to follow in the footsteps of Elliot Rogers. So we should ban that. Ban all the things. Any manifesto, anything that anyone puts out explaining why they're about to do the terrible thing that they're going to do. We've got to ban that. Ban it from being read, because then that will make it that nobody will ever do that again. Obviously. Right? Duh. Well, we can't take the chance that somebody will read it and then decide to do something bad because they read it or watched the video and they decide to do. If they decide to do something bad, they probably might decide to do that bad thing without watching that video or reading that thing. They're probably already mentally unhinged. So that means we should ban them. We got to find these people and get them before they do anything. Oh, man. And that's the end of freedom, isn't it? Because we don't know what sort of people are going to do that, do we? The madness doesn't stop. Sydney Morning Herald. Oh, jeez. Inside the shitposting subculture the alleged Christchurch shooter belonged to. I mean, now that he's in jail, is he still a alleged shooter? Isn't he? I guess this was written before it, but just asking. Anyways, so apparently shitposting has become a staple of anonymous alt-right internet forums. How do you know they're alt-right? What? Huh? What? Do they say? What is alt-right? I keep seeing this. I keep hearing about it. What do you mean by that? What is it? Anyways, shitposting or trolling takes the form of ironic pictures referencing to internet in-jokes that are intended to shock and amuse. Kind of. But yeah, you need to lurk more. You don't really understand these terms. I do, because I was around back in the day before B was bad. Of course, B is never good, so never mind. It's commonly used by the alt-right to promote their belief in white supremacy and wish to rid Western nations of non-white citizens. Really? That's interesting. I'm sure you have ample documents and data and citations and proof of that. Oh, what? You don't? Oh, it's just something you say. Oh, okay. Well, we need to just shut that down. We need to just censor that. You gotta, you gotta do that. So anyways, the board on 8chan called this guy's name, shows pictures from him, and they made it look like Minecraft, Call of Duty, Fortnite, whatever. Being silly with horrible, terrible things, whatever they're doing. It's just dumb. It's dark humor, but it's an expression of hypermasculinity that fuels extremist groups. Oh, really? It fuels extremist groups? You know this? Okay. Do we have any data on that? No. Anyways, hypermasculinity is an exaggerated desire to be seen tough and be recognized as the alpha and get respect. And I don't know if it is or isn't. I mean, you can just say it is, I guess. Alt-right, real-world communities often involved in fight club culture. A lot of real-world violence. Well, okay, maybe there's... Again, I would love data. I'd love anything that showed what you were talking about and tied it together somehow. But okay, sure. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of video games are violent, and that's what's causing more people to do school shootings. That's what this reminds me of very much. We got to get rid of those violent video games. Those violent video games are dangerous. We got to outlaw them. And people are like, no. It's like, okay, we'll put warnings on them. You put age restrictions on them. Oh, okay. See, there's a compromise there. You don't ban it. You label it and you say, okay, if you're 21 and older, you can get this kind of content. If you're 18 and older, you can get this kind of content. If you're younger than 18, you can have this kind of content. And if you're younger than this age, you can have that kind of content or whatever. Because you're now mature enough to have seen enough of the world to know some things and maybe be able to tell the difference between right and wrong. And so you're able now, you're mature enough to be exposed to the world as it is, right? That's the reason we have these age restrictions. And of course, well, there's ways around that, of course. Anyways, this goes on and on and on with, its thing, and you can read it. I don't want to read any more of it. 8chan, right? Speaking of 8chan, I believe it was banned. It was banned in New Zealand or was it 4chan? Okay, they're talking about 4chan. I'm trying to find 8chan on the wiki here. I don't know. Okay, he was on 4chan and 8chan, but I believe they banned 8chan, and I want to find that for sure. 8chan banned. Okay. Damn. Trying to find. It gets axed. Raising the... Okay, so here's another thing I'll put as a link in the actual thing. So this is the story about the banning of 8chan. So now I believe that they actually they didn't censor the website in and of itself. They censored or disallowed the internet, the provider that provided that website or whatever. I forget what country it was, but okay, you removed the controversial image for. So let's see. So CEO of Cloudflare web infrastructure company removed it. So okay, he did it not on any legal ruling as an individual. Okay, so maybe it wasn't political then. It was one person maybe. Okay, well, all right, very well then. But still, it's bad, I think. Censorship is bad. Censorship it's bad. It's bad. That's it. The United States endorsing with this call to action of Christchurch to eliminate terrorists and violent extreme content online. What is that? Does Christchurch decide what that is? Does the US decide what that is? Does the UN decide what that is? Do we get to vote on those things? I mean, I don't remember voting for that we should do this. I don't remember voting for that we should endorse this. So who decided the United States just endorses it? Yeah, it endorses it. It's a press statement. Okay. Department spokesman. Okay. But who decided? Because I'm part of the United States and I didn't decide this. I'm not okay with this. I don't want to endorse their call to action because it's censorship and it doesn't work. It's going to make things worse. And then it's going to lead to taking away of freedom completely. It's not going to stop at freedom of speech. It's going to keep going all the way because that's what happened in the past. And it will happen again. That's it. That's what happens. And I understand that you want to get rid of terrorism, but this isn't the way to do it. We remain the view that the preferred way to defeat terrorist and violent extreme speech is more speech. Right, exactly. To counter it with credible alternative narratives that promote rather than restrict free expression. Oh yeah, that would make sense. Right. But you're not going to do that though. You're gonna so how do you endorse this but also say that we think that more speech is the answer? How do you endorse a thing that's against speech while saying more speech is the answer? You can't have it both ways. I think it's reasonable. Okay, Zip person says, I think it's reasonable to ban psychotic people's manifesto to prevent other retarded people from repeating school shootings, especially the U.S. where weapons are easier to purchase than abortions. Well, I respectfully, don't agree. But not for those reasons. That yes, people might indeed do that. I don't know that weapons are easier to purchase than an abortion. I'm not sure, but the thing is, what else do you have to ban to protect society from that insane person from whatever? They saw a video and then they did the insane thing, so we got to ban that video. Where does it stop, right? If freedom of speech encourages violence, it should be regulated. We already have those rules. We already have those rules in place, at least in America. I don't know what the rules are other places. We already have certain restrictions. Whether or not those restrictions make sense or could be modified to be less restrictive, or because I think the less is better. The less you do, the better. That's my view. But I think, honestly, and my stance is going to be that the United States joining Christchurch called to action to eliminate terrorist and violent extremist content online. That if we Americans, obviously we're the only, other people can't, you could write into our government. I don't know. I suppose the government would be like, oh, thanks for writing in, person from Australia. But whether, we don't, I don't know what they would do with that. But at any rate, we don't do something about this and say no to this. I fear this is the beginning of the end. I don't usually say, it sounds, I don't know what it sounds like. But this scares the hell out of me. It really does. And I don't like it. And I'm definitely going to write letters to Congress people and even the president for whatever good that might do. Whether or not those letters will have any impact, probably not. But the only thing I can think of to do is that. So, and of course, I'll use my speech here as long as I'm allowed to. But don't be surprised if this video is gone and I make another video where I talk about getting another strike on my channel. Last time I got a strike, it was because I posted a video about hate speech, even though that video was a complete and utter joke. It doesn't matter if it's a joke. It's still hate speech, even if it's funny. It doesn't matter. even though it offended nobody. Doesn't matter. It's okay, well, whatever. You decide that something's hate speech, and that's the end of that. Okay, fine, all right. Anyways, so what do you think about this? I mean, maybe you agree with Jip Person, and maybe I'm not being as nuanced as I should be here, and fine, fair enough. Point that out. I may or may not I'll agree with you or disagree with you, and I'll try to do so in the most respectful way, using logic and reason to the best of my ability to do so. And we can disagree with each other, and we can still talk about things, and we can do that because there is freedom of speech. But goodness knows how long we'll be able to keep doing that. That's all for now. I don't know what else to say. Okay, you and I can see harmful speech as harmful speech, but not all people have that mental capacity. Yeah. But we can't, we can't protect everybody from everything. Maybe would even if you said, okay, the limit, the age limit for viewing X content is 25, that wouldn't be enough, because they're saying, look, even if you're above 25, what do you have to do? You have to pass some mental test before you can look at some content or whatever. I don't know. It would, it could get, I think that sort of, that wouldn't be the way to do it either. I don't necessarily have the answer. I do think that censorship is bad, though, no matter what it is. And that's just my stance. So again, leave your comment. Appreciate the chat, Jip Person, but please leave a comment on this. Maybe you can always just copy and paste what you said here if you want, I guess, whatever. Let me know what you guys, girls and robots, think out there that decide to comment on this, or maybe make a response video to it. Say, hey, look, Deacon Man's off his rocker, whatever. I don't know, but let's talk about this. You read through the things and you decide what to think and feel about those things, and let's talk about this, because I think it's very important that we do. All right. Take care. Use logic and reason.